What's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Thomas, and this is the final segment of the day, a huge Thursday on the Thomas Take. I called it the T3, the Thursday Thomas Take, and it was a huge day, but it's not over. To start off, I had David Poole as a guest on the show. We talked about UFC, what is going on in the world of mixed martial arts, this crazy banner year within the sport of mixed martial arts, and what's next with the main event of UFC 202, Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor 2. Talked about Reggie Bush and the Buffalo Bills. Talked about the Buffalo Sabres and the Sabres Edge segment that I've done from time to time. Rasmus Ristolainen sign, seal it, and deliver it to his house. Make it a sizable contract for that young man, because he deserves it. So now, we're going to be talking about the MLB trade deadline. Who impressed me, who didn't, and I can't really say anybody didn't impress me. The one team that I would say let me down a little bit was my team, the Boston Red Sox. I had really hoped that the Red Sox would make more. I can't say, I didn't think they'd be aggressive, but I thought they would possibly try real hard to get Chris Sale. I was hoping that would happen as a fan of the Red Sox. I knew it wouldn't, but I was hoping it would. I was hoping that they would be able to get Chris Sale somehow without trading away Yohan Moncada or Andrew Benintendi, and they couldn't. That was the asking price from the White Sox, from what I have read and what I have heard, and obviously that did not happen because of those reasons. So, who won the trade deadline? Obviously, it's real easy to pick a team. It's real easy to get nitpicky as far as who won the trade deadline. One team that did what they needed to do in terms of trading away big names on their team and acquiring the most talent was the New York Yankees. I have to give credit where credit is due. That's kind of my motto as a sports analyst. Every year that the New England Patriots have success, I hate it, but I have to give credit where credit's due. They're a well-coached football team, and they have a great quarterback. And the New York Yankees, for lack of a better word, they were shit throughout this entire season. 2016 has not been kind to the New York Yankees. Their offense looks horrible. Their pitching looks horrible. And they needed to do something. They really did. This was long overdue. This should have been done probably 2-3 years ago. But now, in some terms, it was a better time to do it. To do the trades of Aroldis Chapman, to make a trade, trading away Andrew Miller and trading away Carlos Beltran. Those three guys, trading away those three players led to 11 players. Two of those three guys are relievers, so they pitch, in closing situations. A closer is extremely important in the game of baseball. I know that better than anybody, but just in terms of playing and coaching and everything, I know that. But for them to get what they got back in exchange for two guys that are basically minimal in terms, they're not everyday players. They're not every fifth day pitchers. They're closers. They come in to save games in opportunistic situations. And, although they're two of the best, I anticipated, them, and I anticipated them being traded, both of them being traded, just what the Yankees were able to get in exchange for Chapman, and in exchange for Miller, and in exchange for Carlos Beltran. Beltran is pushing 40 at the end of his career. They were able to get a good amount. For Aroldis Chapman, they traded Chapman to the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs making that deal, obviously, I talked about that a little bit. They sent Gleyber Torres, the shortstop, right-handed pitcher Adam Warren, who was once a former Yankee, who they traded to the Cubs in exchange for Starlin Castro. A guy that I really like in the trade, Billy McKinney, an outfielder, and Rashad Crawford. McKinney and Torres were two of the top prospects in the Cubs farm system. So right there, they get two guys that could eventually make that impact on the New York Yankees. And in the trade for Andrew Miller, I anticipated that trade would go down, and I thought that they would get one of the prospects that I really like is outfielder Clint Frazier. He's played a little bit of third base as well, but they got Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield, and right-handed pitchers Ben Heller and J.P. Fairraisin. It's a lot to give up, but in terms of rankings, Miller is one of the better relievers in the game, and the Indians want to go all in. They really want to try and make their team better. And really, all three of these trades worked out in every situation for both sides. You could say one team might have given up a little bit too much, but if you want to make the postseason, that's what you got to do. And Carlos Beltran was another guy that was traded. Obviously, Beltran has actually had a good season. He's been one of those guys that's provided the Yankees with some pop in their lineup. And they traded him pushing 40. They traded him for Dylan Tate, who was a first-round draft choice, Eric Swanson, and Nick Green. There was rumblings that the Red Sox were going to make a trade with the Yankees, which rarely happens. I didn't anticipate that would happen, but and I'm thankful it didn't, because I'm a Red Sox fan, and making a trade with the Yankees is like signing your soul over to the devil, and I don't want that to happen to the Red Sox. So, in terms of who won the trade deadline, I would say the New York Yankees. They got the most for three players, really. Two guys that come in opportunistic situations to save games. Not that closers aren't important, but they're not trading everyday players. They're trading, closers, relievers, and a 40-year-old outfielder. When you look at it that way, they really got a lot. They really did. And bravo to Brian Cashman for making those trades. He needed to. Now, I don't see the Yankees. Obviously, they're not going to be competitive this season with, the roster and the shape that it's in. A-Rod has to go. It has to happen. It's time. They're going to absorb the final 2 years of that contract. I'm assuming he is just god-awful, and he needs to go. And they need to just wash their hands of that entire, for the lack of a better term, shit show that A-Rod has provided them with the last 3-4 seasons. And realistically, last year A-Rod had a great year. He really did. He silenced a lot of haters. But this season has just been bad. And there's the bad outweighs the good. It really does. And it's time for him to go. They need to get younger and better fast, or else they will fall behind. And they realized that, and they made some moves in regards to that very situation. And I hope that it does bring back some respectability to the Yankees and Red Sox rivalry, but I hope that they still struggle, because I'm a Red Sox fan, and I want to see the Yankees lose. I'll be honest. I'll say it. I want to see the Yankees lose. I want to see the Red Sox win the World Series every single year as humanly possible, as much as humanly possible. But I don't know if that'll happen. In assessing my team, the Boston Red Sox, they've made some curious moves over the last couple weeks, trading one of their top prospects for Drew Pomeranz. Pomeranz is an okay pitcher, but I'm not a big fan of trading prospects. And although I would have liked Chris Sale, if it involved Benintendi or Moncada sending one of those guys away, I would not do it. Benintendi gets called up. He's a solid player, all-around 5-tool guy. Moncada's going to be a superstar in this league. So I anticipate that the future of the Red Sox is extremely bright. And the future of the Yankees is bright with these trades. I like Clint Frazier a lot. Frankly, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck seeing Clint Frazier in a Yankee uniform, because I do like him. He's a guy that I followed leading into the draft, and he's a guy that I enjoyed watching as a prospect in the minor leagues. Now he's gonna be a Yankee, which that happens, but really, Brian Cashman's work is far from done. 2016, they're not going to be competitive. 2017, they might be a little bit more competitive. Next year, maybe just a little bit. 2018, I anticipate them to be big spenders once again in the same Yankee fashion that they have shown examples of time to time throughout their franchise history. And Bryce Harper is a free agent in 2018, so that would not shock me at all if he became a New York Yankee in 2018, adding fuel to the evil empire. So there you have it, guys. My winners of the trade deadline were the New York Yankees. I really liked what the Dodgers did, acquiring Rich Hill and Josh Reddick. The Yasiel Puig situation is a pretty bad one, and Reddick fills that hole in right field for them. Obviously, I like the aggressiveness from the Texas Rangers, acquiring Jonathan Lucroy and Carlos Beltran. As far as immediate impact, the honor and immediate impact trading goes to the Texas Rangers in acquiring Lucroy and Beltran, and not having to sacrifice Joey Gallo in a trade for Chris Sale. I actually think that is a good move on their part, not trading Joey Gallo for Chris Sale. I'm not a big fan of trading big-name prospects in general. I'm a believer in building your team through the farm system and acquiring talent along the way. And the Rangers didn't bite on Chris Sale, and the Red Sox didn't either. And I'm glad that they didn't. I just wish the White Sox asking price wasn't so high, and maybe Chris Sale could have came to Boston, but that didn't happen. Also, the whole I'm not a fan of guys, electing to forego a situation with the team, electing to, not go to the Cleveland Indians, have a no-trade clause and all that. If I'm playing in the major leagues, I don't care what team I'm on. I'm just happy to be there, really. It's easier said than done when I'm just a fan rather than an athlete. And you have, a guy that's played on the Milwaukee Brewers for his whole entire career, and he, wants to go to a winner. But Cleveland is building a decent team, and I don't know. I honestly think they're one of the more underrated teams in the American League, and I'm curious as to why he didn't want to go there. I think he would have been their catcher. I read that Yan Gomes was going to move to third. I don't know what the validity of that is, but I don't know. I didn't really like that. So that's all for the Thomas Take Thursday. I am very excited to continue to make Thursdays a trend for my podcast, the Thomas Take Thursday. I'm thinking of making that a trend. Also, if you have not seen my guest list for the Thomas Take Sports podcast during the Buffalo Bills 2016 season, I'm going to have different guests every week throughout the NFL season. I'm very excited about that. The show is getting bigger, and I never thought it would be, where it is at today as far as me putting it out there in January just as a side hobby. And to be honest, I was kind of afraid to do this. I thought that it wouldn't go anywhere, but it has. I've made some awesome connections through social media because of the podcast, and I've had some awesome listeners along the way, and I'm going to have plenty of awesome guests, David Poole included. I plan on having him on the show quite often, talking about the Ultimate Fighting Championship in the world of mixed martial arts, and I'm very excited for the football season. All you fantasy nerds out there like myself, anyone in my fantasy league, you know who you are. You know what is about to happen. You know that I'm coming for you. I'm going to get the W's that I need to get my title back. That's a stiff challenge, but I'm willing to throw down the gauntlet right now and say I will be the 2016 Lockport Fantasy Football Champion. How about them apples? Take care, guys. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Tune in next time. There'll be plenty more to talk about. Thank you.